With Samoa Joe spotted at the WWE Performance Center and Edge rumored to be returning at Summerslam, this is Wrestling Up. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for June 12th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Once again, talking about a dream match with Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion Bobby Lashley said this to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and anytime he came back it was to get the title, and every other champ he's been in the ring with except me. So if he ever wants the title back, instead of doing whatever he's doing, the time is now. The math is right. It's not like I'm running from him. Right now it appears WWE is not planning on having this match take place at SummerSlam, as we'll have to see if this happens down the line. WWE correspondent Kayla Braxton has been dealing with trolls online mocking her biracial background. As she wrote, I often get tagged in tweets making fun of or mocking the fact that I at times mention my biracial background. I also see your comments about others who are also biracial or becoming biracial parents. If you did not grow up as a biracial person or as a biracial parent, keep your comments to yourself. You have no idea what it's like, and if we want to talk about it or bring awareness to it, it's not your right to mock it. I, like many others, spent years being bullied and feeling like I did not belong, especially being raised in the South. It was difficult being accepted by either side. Some parents of the white boys I liked made threats to me if they ever brought me home. One boy in particular had his parents tell him that he would have a noose hanging from their family tree if he dared to bring me home. I got called a mutt, a mixed breed. The black kids would also make fun of me for not being black enough or not having black hair, being too light-skinned. I spent so many afternoons after school crying, hating myself, asking why I was so different to the point where no one wanted to be my friend. I know this is the same story shared by biracial children everywhere. So again, for those of you who continue to mock those of us who at times like to mention our biracial backgrounds or bring light to it now that we've accepted it and developed pride for it, kindly shut up. Braxton is no stranger to dealing with negative people on the internet, as she had to shut down her Twitter account after coming out as bisexual. With Triple H saying WWE holding another all-women's pay-per-view is not a must-have, Dave Meltzer added on this, saying, "It didn't flop selling tickets, but it was tougher than most. The number of people who watched and they promoted it hard was still lower than most. It was not the worst that year, no, but it was on the low end. Their mentality is why add that pay-per-view when it wasn't a big hit. But of the B shows, they pushed it harder than all of them. I mean, they did so much promotion for that thing for it to be at a low level. For the promotion they put into it, it did not do well. That's what they're looking at. So from their business perspective, that's how they see it. Other people think it's just a cause and they should do it because I want them to do it." When it comes to WWE's plans for Roman Reigns versus The Rock, it was noted on the Wrestling Observer that obviously Rock and Roman is something that they're building towards, and it would be. Every year gets tougher and tougher because Dwayne gets a year older, and but I think he really wants to do a match against Reigns. I think for sure it'll be in the next two WrestleManias, and if he can pull it off, the next Mania. Speaking with Renee Paquette, Mark Henry touched on Braun Strowman being released by WWE, saying, "I wouldn't have let him go. But you know what? If he wasn't happy and he asked them for more grace, more time or more money or something and they didn't want to pay it, you've got to part ways." But I don't know what the circumstances were with their relationship. With me, I knew what that was. With him, I don't. But if I were to speculate, there was an opportunity with him and Brock 3 years ago, and it never came. During the pandemic, he had a little shine, but it wasn't like if he was to be in that role now. And I don't know if it was going his direction. Maybe he was the one that was disenchanted. I don't know, I'd love to ask him. Henry recently joined AEW as an analyst and commentator, as he's hinted at having another match. Strowman, after his 90-day non-compete clause runs out, could see himself in the upstart promotion as well. After suffering a broken nose, Sheamus was seen with a protective face mask this week on Raw as he updated Vibe and wrestling on his health. "I've been doing okay, I'm getting better. There was a lot of damage done to the outside and inside. I cracked my septum, and there were fractures and breaks on the outside. It was actually more painful getting the nose put back together than it was getting it broken. It's just more annoying. But yeah, I'm on the mandate. Nothing stops me. I've had multiple injuries. I tore my meniscus, but I still got in the ring. I don't like to sit at home, and I don't like to make excuses for not being out there when I can be." On SmackDown, Bayley came to the ring for her talk show where there was a botch, as a graphic quickly appeared saying she was the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. That graphic quickly disappeared, but not before fans took notice of it and posted pictures online. With Triple H recently saying WWE the best women's wrestling on the planet, AEW President Tony Khan has responded, saying this on Busted Open Radio. Everybody is building their own roster. They're going to have good feelings about the people they work with. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you think you have the best show or the best company. I think where people got offended yesterday is when he said everybody wants to work there. That was like people are confusing the two things. If you want to say like, hey, I think my show is the best, I think my product is the best, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you should feel that way. That's good. But when you say it like anybody of any value wants to work here, that's not true. It's crazy. There's plenty of people who work in AEW that have no interest in working there. With Vibe in Wrestling, Sheamus spoke of the backstage morale in WWE following a string of company releases. The locker room got to get on with it. I've been in the company 12 years and it is part of the business. People come in and people go, and you got to get down with it. Every Monday you got to get there and perform. I don't think the morale is down. I think it is a lot better than what it used to be when I started. There's a lot more of camaraderie and we have great lads, experienced lads and young lads working together during the pandemic with no fans. You talk to some of the legends and they will tell you that they would not adapt to perform in the ring. So I think is a credit to everybody who has been working nonstop during the last 15 or 16 months and keeping the company going and people entertained during this situation. WWE's pay-per-view this summer could be getting bigger with Louis Dangoor writing. It is very likely that Edge will be wrestling at Summerslam in August, especially considering the WWE Hall of Famers being advertised for the July 16th episode of SmackDown in Houston in front of fans. John Alba would add, reported on Patreon this week, Edge is currently penciled in for the Summerslam card as a babyface on the SmackDown side. Seems to give credence to that. With him being released by WWE on April 15th, Samoa Joe could be making his return, with him recently expressing interest in wrestling again. Fightful reported officials on NXT have confirmed that Joe was briefly at the Performance Center this week. We were not told why he was there. We did get confirmation there have been pitches within NXT to use Samoa Joe, however. Fightful would note also heard they're open to a variety of roles. It'll be interesting to see not only if Joe makes a return to WWE, but role he will take up. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.